The cloud. Okay, hey everybody, and welcome to the CARES bonus December webinar. What makes a CARES application stand out? My name is Dwayne Ellis, and I'm the outreach and training coordinator for the Georgia Council for Recovery. Above all, I am a person in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is that it has been 9 years since I felt the need to use any mind-altering drugs to change the way that I feel. Today, I not only speak out loud to show others in addiction or in recovery that their voice matters, but also because silence never did me any good and it never healed me. Stigma and shame are no longer reasons for me to stay quiet. This 1.5 hour webinar today, y'all, was last minute, but it is designed to help prospective applicants understand what it takes to score competitively in the application process for the upcoming Matt Marr Cares Academy. Cares Academy 81 is scheduled for next year in March. This is a specialized academy and a valuable opportunity for individuals who currently utilize MAR as a pathway to recovery or who have previously used MAT as part of their recovery journey. If you don't have experience with MAT or MAR, there will be additional CARES Academy opportunities available that do not require this specialization and instead focus on the standard CARES eligibility criteria. These general application requirements will also be reviewed during this webinar. We'll discuss those as well, making this session beneficial regardless of which academy you plan to apply for. Additionally, if you know someone who may be interested in applying, if you're already a CARES or just anyone else, please feel free to share this information with them. Let's go over housekeeping really quick. Please keep your microphone muted if you're not speaking. Our co-hosts or me will mute people as needed. Everyone who remains until the end of this webinar will receive 1.5 CEUs. You will receive a certificate from our database coordinator, Alvin Cotton, and it will probably go out next couple of weeks. Anyone who shows up more than 15 minutes late or must step away for that long may continue to attend the webinar, but they will not receive credit. Again, the certificates will likely go out early next week. You can search for Alvin in your inbox if you can't find the certificate, or maybe in your spam or trash folder. Make sure the name on your screen matches the name you want on your certificate, and that you include your pronouns so that we can address you correctly. So before we get started with any webinar, we always like to see who's here. So I'm gonna put up a poll just to see who is here. Launch. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Aspiring cares. Some people are already cares. CPS and Mage. Oh, friends of peer mentor. Cool. I'll end the poll and share the results. There we go. So now I'm gonna put up this presentation. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay. There we go.
Y'all aren't still seeing the poll, are you? Okay, good. I was for a minute.
Is it gone?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what makes a CARES application stand out? Before we get into this presentation, probably need to talk about what a CARES is. So the CARES is a Certified Addiction Recovery Empowerment Specialist. And this academy was developed in 2011 by the CARES Advisory Coalition and GC4R. Trailblazers such as Neil Campbell, George Brott, Theodis Crane, and Jane Fertner, along with many others, have made history in Georgia's peer recovery workforce. Today, the CARES, the CPSAD provide recovery support services serving communities across the state of Georgia. Funded by DBHDD, the CARES Academy is the first of its kind in the country to be Medicaid billable. Upon completion of the CARES Academy, once you do get accepted, we have three core competencies. One, advocate for recovery for themselves, the peer with whom they work, their recovery community, and for recovery-oriented systems of care. Secondly, facilitate all recovery groups. And thirdly, conduct individual recovery check-ins by supporting peers in self-directed care and assessing a peer's recovery capital using motivational interviewing and many other skills. So 2 weeks after you go through the CARES Academy, you'll take a credentialing exam. And when you pass that exam, you'll be recognized as a CPSAD, allowing you to bill Medicaid. Um, for your organization if your organization bills Medicaid. So now that we know a little bit about that, we're going to set the tone. Our featured speaker serves as the CARES team lead at the Georgia Council for Recovery, but her impact extends far beyond her role. She brings a powerful lived experience, story, and testimony, one that demonstrates how medication assisted treatment not only supported her recovery, but also helped her build a healthy, fulfilling life, including welcoming a beautiful daughter into the world. Cassie Wood is living proof that Matt and Mar saves lives, strengthens families, and breaks stigma. She is also a graduate of a Matt Mar Cares Academy herself, having walked this very path. Her journey embodies the hope, resilience, and possibility we aim to highlight today. Without further ado, Cassie Wood.
Oh my gosh, Dwayne, I'm literally gonna cry. That was so nice. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you for asking me to speak. Like Dwayne was saying, my name is Cassie Wood. I am the CARES team lead here at Georgia Council for Recovery, but more importantly, I'm a woman in long-term recovery. And what that means for me is I just celebrated 5 years in November, November 1st, since I've had the obsession to use any illicit substance to change the way that I feel. And 5 years is a big deal for me. I've had one, I've had 2 years throughout my time in recovery, but never three and never four, and definitely not five. So it's a really big deal. And I'm also a graduate of the MAT Cares 53, the best cares ever, by the way. And I want to give you a little backstory to my addiction, right? So when I was a kid, I was severely bullied and picked on for my weight, and I never really fit in. I felt so different just from a really young age. And I started using when I was 12. And so, I used for a lot of years and went to multiple rehabs and things like that. And then in 2018, that's the first time that I tried MAT medication. It was methadone. And that was the first time that I ever really even heard of it. And so I got on the methadone in 2018. But honestly, then I used it more of like harm reduction because I still was actively using. And it's funny because that created the stigma that I had against Matt myself. I was a person who used Matt, but I also stigmatized it and other people using it because of the way that I actually was using it in 2018, right? So then fast forward 2020, I get pregnant, and I was in recovery at the time, and I had a setback while pregnant. And this truly brought me to my knees. Um, this was a very low point in my life. And so, of course, I tried to go to multiple detoxes, emergency rooms, trying to get help because I couldn't just stop right. And everyone's like, you should get on MAT medication. That's the safest route. That's the first line. That's how we treat women who are pregnant who are on opiates, right? And of course, we go back to that stigma I felt, right, in 2018. I'm like, no, there's no way I can't do it. But I ended up getting on methadone again, taking it as prescribed under a doctor's care, in addition to not just the MAT medication, but I also had the counseling and a peer coach and a community and connection and all the things that for me made my MAT experience successful. That's just me. Some people use MAT medication and they don't use anything else to help support it, and that's their recovery. And I speak out loud about that because MAT is a pathway and it's used differently for different people. Everyone's recovery looks different, right? And so in 2021, I had my little baby girl, Bella, like Dwayne was saying. And, that just completely changed my world. And I was on the MAT medication. She did go through neonatal withdrawal. And it was such a lonely place to be pregnant on methadone because there's really not that many people who speak out loud about it. And so I did feel so alone again. But luckily, I had that connection. I had that support to help me through that. And for me, I didn't end up staying on the methadone. I tapered off. And so January 1st of 2023, I had I completely tapered off of the methadone. And that's my pathway. And it was a tool for me. So medication assisted treatment was a tool, and it really was such a huge tool because DFACS never got involved. I
Mm.
never lost custody of my daughter. They never even opened a case because I was on MAT medication and I was able to give them my UDS that showed that I was just on my MAT medication that was prescribed by a doctor. And so MAT medication, it really is a great tool. And it's a shame all of the stigma that surrounds it. And that's why we're doing this. And that's why we have MAT specific academies because we want those peers to know that they have a place here in recovery, that their story matters, and that we need to keep speaking out loud about MAT so that other people don't feel the shame. Because even like me and Dwayne worked in a MAT program before we worked here, and peers would come in and be like, "Okay, when can I get off of it?" And they hadn't even started their first dose. And it's because of that stigma and shame that surrounds it, why people feel like, "Oh, I'm really not clean, right? I'm really not in recovery if I'm on this." And for me too, in 2018, I feel like that kept me in active use as well because I'm thinking I'm actually dirty, right? Like I'm not even in recovery on this medication. It was really not a pathway because of what people tell you, and so that's why we do this and that's why we speak out loud about Matt. So I thank you, Dwayne, for allowing me to share a little bit of my story.
Dang, she was humble. Cassie, what's your life like today?
Oh, what's my life like today? I'm the CARES team lead. I'm a mother, a friend.
Yeah.
I show up, I do TikTok, I help people all across the world find and sustain long-term recovery from substance use disorder. I'm about to go to Disney. I've lost 94 pounds.
Praise God.
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
Amen.
Thank you, Cassie. Let's give Cassie a round of applause.
Go,
Thank
girl.
you.
Unmute
That's not
yourself.
easy. That's not easy.
Thank you.
What you're doing is not easy.
Congratulations, Cassie.
Thank you.
Thank
But
you,
I feel you.
Cass.
I have been in a mat. I've also been in a mat program for a long time. And people around me don't realize that that's what keeps me sober. You know?
Thank you for sharing that, Haley.
Yeah, I do know, and I'm so proud of you. You are in recovery, and I know it hurts when people say that it's not, but I know it's recovery. Dwayne knows it's recovery, and you know it's recovery. And so just remember that in those moments.
I know that it's better than where I was before. It's what I know. You know?
There you
Yeah,
go.
for sure.
And this is a safe space, everybody. So there's gonna be a couple more opportunities for people to share. So um, we suggest that you do if you have something to say. Your story carries a lot of power. So today the agenda is very short and sweet. We're going to talk about the origin of how this Matt Marr Cares Academy was created. We're going to go through the rubric and everything that the CARES application entails. And then we're going to practice the oral interview a little bit. So after you submit your application, if you score high enough, you'll be invited to the oral interview. So we're going to do some practice scenario rounds for the oral interview if y'all are interested, but we encourage you to participate. Um, the application itself is 40%, of your overall score, and the interview is 60%. So I want you all to remember that. But let's go into the history of this Matt Marquez Academy. So in the early 2010s, like the core of it, staff at the Georgia Council for Recovery were paying close attention to what was happening across the recovery landscape in Georgia. And they began an important conversation, a conversation about specific peers. And these peers were participating in MAT, medicated assisted treatment, right? Or using medication as a part of their recovery, and they were facing discrimination. That stigma showed up in painful places, within their families, recovery meetings, and even from people that they once trusted. As a result, many felt unwelcome and judged and pushed to the margins of spaces that were meant to be supportive, right? This was deeply troubling what we were seeing and what we were hearing because we were getting this feedback, right? And because these individuals were reuniting with their children, they were maintaining employment, they were engaging in wellness activities, and they were rebuilding their lives. We noticed that they were experiencing the very same milestones and gifts of recovery as others, even those same people that were telling them that their recovery wasn't valid and that they needed to be completely abstinent. But the reality is clear today, that MAT, medicated assisted treatment, and medicated assisted recovery are recovery. They are evidence-based, whole person approaches that combine FDA-approved medications such as I'm gonna mess that word up, buprenorphine, naltrexone, and methadone, Vivitrol, etc., with psychosocial support like counseling and therapeutic support. These treatments stabilize brain chemistry, reduce cravings and withdrawal symptoms, and dramatically improve long-term outcomes for people living with substance use disorders. Matt and Mar are not about substituting one addiction for another. I know we've heard that, but they are proven medical treatments that save lives, increase treatment retention, and allow people to function, thrive, and build healthy, meaningful lives rather than simply surviving detox. Recovery is not just one size fits all. And when we honor all pathways to recovery, we strengthen our communities, reduce harm, and open the door for more people to heal. So the same thing that we were noticing at the Georgia Council, DBHDD took notice. And in March of 2019, the first Specialized Cares Academy for individuals with Matt Mar experience was created. And that would be Matt Mar Cares Academy 33. But before we go into the eligibility, I want to just stop sharing for a second, and maybe some people on here can maybe talk about their experiences with Matt Marr and the discrimination that they may have went through or experienced.
I have heard clients in our county, especially mothers who are pregnant, they come in and say that, the doctors or the nurses made them feel, I guess, how do I say that? They were wrong for being on, Suboxone or methadone, and that there's been cases where, CPS had been involved once the child was born. And so for me, I feel like being a voice, or how do you get those doctors or, the nurses to understand the importance of this?
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Anybody else?
I've also experienced working at a rehab as an RA lead that a lot of them is the rehabs are founded off Suboxone. And once they get handed Suboxone, they can't find it when they leave. So then they mess up or setback, I want to say, to come back within 24 hours because they can't find it.
Yeah. Anyone else? Thank you for sharing, Amanda. Okay, I'm gonna open this presentation back up.
It looks good.
Yeah, but okay. Okay, basic criteria for the CARES application. So if you weren't applying for this specialized academy, you would just need 2 years of continuous abstinent recovery and a high school GED. So you don't need the actual copy of the high school GED. It's just a yes or no question. And then after that, you just need to submit this application, and it consists of just basic information. But at the core, there is a writing sample and two reference letters. But if you're applying for this specialized academy, there's the additional experience with Matt or Mar or both that you'll need to apply for the Matt Marquez Academy in March. Well, it takes place in March. The applications open up at the end of December. There is a minimum of 250 words and a maximum of 500 words for each of these three letters. So your writing sample and your two reference letters, each one, they have to be at least 250, but no more than 500 words. For your writing sample, we are scoring on five different areas. First, does the applicant demonstrate, um, can I move this?
Hey,
Can't see. Yes, Haley, you got a question?
sorry, Dwayne. Listen, I'm having to take pictures with my phone because it's not letting me do the screenshots. You know,
You'll get you'll I'm sorry. You'll get the PowerPoint once I'm finished.
perfect. Okay, well then good. I'm not going to try to freak out and act like I didn't get everything. Okay.
So one, the applicant demonstrates that they possess the values of CARES. And off to the left, those are the six values. So recovery, how you started, what you do now, service and leadership. Um, this is a moment not to be humble. I know recovery teaches us to be humble and to be anonymous, but during this writing sample, we want you to brag about yourself because we're going to need to know all of this information because we don't know you. We just have this writing sample. So we want to know, as far as the value of recovery, how you started and what you do now to sustain long-term recovery. The next value is hope. So when we're talking about hope, we want to see examples of how you convey hope to others. So rather it be you're a sponsor, but even if you're not in 12 step, are you a spiritual mentor? Do you share your story at places? Do you go to advocacy at events? Anything that has to do with you conveying hope. We just want to hear examples. Wellness, what do you do for your own personal recovery? Because a lot of the times, what we see in these writing samples is that people will list and list and list all the service that they're doing, but it just looks like a big pile of burnout because we don't see anything that they're doing for themselves. They're doing all this stuff for other people, but it doesn't seem like they're taking care of yourself. So we want to know what wellness activities you're involved in. There's some examples there: nutrition, taking your medication, prayer, shopping, spa days, hiking, all of that and more. Diversity. We want to know that whoever walks into your room seeking services, that you as a CARES, as a CPSAD, you'll be able to help whoever walks into that office. So as far as diversity in your writing sample, we want to know who are you working well with that doesn't look like you? And it doesn't have to be in a recovery capacity. It could be any area of your life. Maybe you work with different people at your job. Maybe even outside of that, you're part of a book club where there's a whole bunch of different people. But whatever area of your life we want to know. For example, me, I go to a boxing gym, and at that boxing gym, there are Hispanic Americans there, there are Asian Americans there. It's not all black people. It wouldn't be very diverse if it was just all African Americans. So we do want you to get specific. What ethnicities are you supporting? Are you working well with within your community? Um, and it could be demographics too, socio-demographic, the homeless population, LGBTQ, Whatever that looks like, we want you to get specific with these different groups of people that you work well with. Commitment. This must be shown by a timestamp. It's usually the best way for us to see it as scores. So if you've worked at Waffle House for 4 years, you need to put that. And it again, it doesn't have to be recovery based. If you've ever committed to something, we want to hear about it. Um, Cassie shared that she lost all of that weight, so that was a big commitment. If she put that in there, she would definitely get credit. So whatever area of your life, when you've committed to something, past or present, we want you to put that in there. Integrity, doing the right thing when no one is looking. Firm adherence to your own morals, examples of displaying honesty. So we just want examples of integrity. I've seen people just share examples of them being able to get honest in a situation, or if they went to a treatment center and they graduated that treatment center, but they later went back to that treatment center to share their story or bring a meeting, we consider that to be integrity too. But there's so many different ways to include examples of integrity. Are there any questions about the six cares values or how to put it into your writing sample? I can't see anybody, so I'm taking in nobody. Okay. So number two, after the six values, there is the leadership qualities. So this is pretty specific. We want you to put specifically in your writing sample leadership roles that you've carried. So rather that be maybe management positions at a job or whatever you started, created, help organize, all of those would be considered examples of leadership. But we want you to go beyond the word leader. Don't just put the word, I'm a great leader in my recovery community. That's not going to really count. So as far as leadership qualities, we want you to specifically put what you start, what you've created, what you've helped organize. If you ever have held a manager type position or a supervisor position at a job in or out of recovery, you could put that. If you're in 12 step, any of those, if you were a treasurer, a GSR, H&I, any of those positions, those would also count. The applicant demonstrates or promotes recovery in their life. So we basically just want to know, how are you an example of recovery in your own life and what are you doing for yourself? And it ties into wellness. They're one of the same. So we're just wanting to know, how are you an example of recovery for others? The applicant contributes to community efforts for sustained recovery. That one's pretty simple, but all your community efforts that you're involved in. Don't be general because we cannot assume if scores have to assume what you're saying. If you say, "Oh, I'm always involved in advocacy events all year," what advocacy events are you involved in? We want you to get specific. Are you volunteering during Christmas to do gift drives or provide food to the homeless? What are you doing specifically? What are the community efforts that you're involved in? And lastly, the applicant's overall writing sample is in alignment with the mission and values of CARES. So this last area, we take into consideration all the values from the first area that we score in number one. So along with the values, we want to know that you're in alignment with the mission. And the two key parts of our mission is providing experienced peer support and advocating for self-directed care. So experienced peer support, it sounds complex, but really it doesn't even have to take place in the workplace. If you're a peer talking to another peer and you're sharing your experience to help them, that's an example of peer support, providing experienced peer support. You're providing your experience. So if you could put an example of that in your writing sample, you'll get credit. A specific example, and also advocating for self-directed care. If there's ever been a time where you've been able to help somebody that was seeking recovery or recovery support services, or just anything that would help their quality of life be better, and you were able to assist them, that would be self-directed care because it was something that they were interested in doing for their own recovery to improve their own recovery and their way of life. So it's self-directed. We're not authoritative as a CARES or CPSAD. We're all about just being a guide and allowing the other person to be the expert of their own recovery. So if you've ever been a guide to someone and helped them to do something that they wanted to do and not telling them what to do, if you put that in there, that would give you credit. Are there any questions about anything that we score on?
Hi, Dwayne. This is Barbara. I have a question.
Yes.
Um, Now, when you went over the basic criterias for Care Academy, the six, I only heard the recovery, the hope, the wellness, and diversity. So, what was the other two?
Commitment and integrity. So
Okay.
commitment can be shown as like timestamps. We always encourage people to put numbers like I've worked here for such and such amount of time, or I've been I've been going to the gym consistently for the past 4 years. Put specific timestamps so we can know how long you've been committed to something. So that's commitment. And then integrity is just you being able to provide examples of honesty or maybe giving back to a specific cause that you feel passionate about because it's something that you went through yourself. So those would be examples of integrity and commitment.
Okay. Thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah. I had a
Will
question
we
real
have
quick.
will we have access to this video? Is
You'll
it?
have access to these slides as well. They're going to get
Yeah,
sent to you.
because you gave a great outline of how to write that. And I really appreciate that.
And we're about to do a example, so that's going to help as well. And again, you'll get all these slides.
Okay, I have a question, Dwayne. You said about helping someone.
Hmm.
Um, like I have a friend that I helped, like she was in a situation, she was, in the middle of her in the middle of her addiction, had never been in it before, and I I helped her. Like I had told her about the methadone clinic. She didn't know nothing about any kind of MAT or MAR or nothing like that. And she actually went to the methadone clinic and has been sober ever since. And like just has recently in the last month or so came off of the methadone and is doing great. Is that
Absolutely.
is that an okay example
Of integrity?
of helping, like you said, of helping somebody, or
I think that one sentence. So here's another thing. I'm glad Haley brought this up. You can have one thing that you write in this writing sample, and it could give you credit for multiple areas. So I would consider that hope, integrity, a little bit of community efforts, even though it's just one person in the community, that one person is still a part of
a
community.
person, right?
And also in alignment with the CARES mission. You shared your experience because you had went through Matt Mar yourself, and also, um, if that was something that that person was interested in, that was self-directed care. You
For
didn't tell
sure.
them what to do, but they wanted to feel better, and they did it themselves. So that that was a whole bunch of things that
Okay.
embodied a lot.
Okay.
Definitely include that.
Okay, definitely. Thank you.
Yep. Any more questions? Can y'all see my screen? Is it sharing, Cassie?
Yes, I
Yeah,
can see you.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
good.
Okay. Okay, everybody, there's this peer. His name is Pierre Jackson. He is an African American male, and he is applying to be a CARES. So he has a writing sample, and we are going to read his writing sample, and then we're going to grade it together. Um, so if y'all want to take a couple minutes to read this. Um, and then once you're done reading it, unmute yourself and say Shazam.
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 Shazam. Okay, what do y'all think about his writing sample?
Shazam.
You think it's Shazam?
I liked it. I thought it covered all the points. It was succinct. It wasn't rambling. I liked that. I liked it. I'll just leave
Okay.
it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, it seemed like he hit all the points that you were speaking of.
Yeah, so let's see if we can find them because I want to make sure that y'all understand what we're looking for in a writing sample. So I think this letter's about 400 and something words. So as far as it being within the maximum and minimum requirement of words, Pierre hit that on the spot. He didn't go under or over. He identified as a person in recovery for more than 2 years. Let's just assume that he had his high school GED, and this is his writing sample. So he hit basic requirements, and now let's go into grading his writing sample together. So y'all can get an idea of what scores are looking for. There's those 5 areas, right? And each one, the highest you could get on each section is a 5. So if you got a 5 in all of the 5 section, the highest score you could get is
25.
a 25, right? So I would say this writing sample is on the high 20s.
Mhm.
Let's start with the CARES values. So, recovery, as far as recovery, does Pierre talk about how he started and what his life is like today?
Yes.
Where at?
The top paragraph talks about him being in recovery for the past 8 years. That's where he's at today. And he talks about how he was homeless and lost custody of his children and and, and walking the streets of Atlanta.
So
Yeah, and
the top paragraph talks about where he started it, but the last paragraph talks about where he's at today.
yeah, he got his children back. Okay. How about hope? How does he convey hope to others? Is he mentor
Yeah.
position? Does he tell his story anywhere? Like how does Pierre convey hope
Where
specifically?
he,
He
I
says we
see
have
where he, the treatment program that he went to, that he moved up and that he went back and he went up and he continued to get back. And now that has become his family and his support. as
And helping his church, like to where he does it, he volunteers at the food pantries to feed the homeless and giving out the haircuts for back to school. And it might not be like a giving back to the recovery community in there, but like she just said, he went back to the place to where he went for recovery and gave back and helped those people.
Yeah, that sounds like
Showed them that
integrity
it's so
too.
possible.
I feel like in the bottom part where it says recently I shared my experience with someone in MAT
Yeah,
medication, but I feel like that right there talks about or would be the hope part of it.
me
You know, this
too.
guy ended up sharing this information with his parents, and today they are full support of him.
Right.
What?
And then
Yeah.
also he started the life skills meeting. That's sort of like giving back too, giving some hope.
And
Okay.
doing the webinar, he says he creates a life skills meeting that they facilitate every Tuesday for the past 5 years for peers at the Sunshine Help.
Okay, so we get that there's a lot of hope, I guess.
Yeah.
So we got recovery, we got hope, wellness. I hear a lot of service that Pierre does. Does Pierre do anything for himself? Does he talk about his wellness?
Yeah, he said the last paragraph, in my spare time, I enjoy reading, my daily devotion, exercising 3, 4 days a week, going to
Yeah,
church, mentoring the youth I coach, soccer program, attending virtual all recovery meetings, cooking. He listed quite a few things that he does for himself in the last
bingo.
paragraph.
How about diversity?
Yes, he said there was a white female, and their vice president identifies as non-binary. There was three Hispanic Americans. There was two Polynesian sisters.
Look
Just
at
yeah,
that.
it's
You
very
see how
diverse.
specific he got? And I think it's
Yeah.
important, and it may seem unnecessary that we ask you to be specific about certain areas, but understand that this is a competitive process, y'all, and a lot of people are going to submit applications and they may generalize certain things. So when we come across your letter and you stick out because you're super specific and not just using words like diversity or integrity, and you're really giving us examples of diversity and integrity, you're going to stick out. Um, what about commitment? Is he committed to anything? See any
He says the
timestamps?
past 8 years he's been in recovery, so that's a little bit of time.
Yeah. Outside of his recovery, is there anything else?
His children. His
Got
He
his
his
says we've
children.
created a life skills meeting that we facilitate Tuesday for the past 5 years.
There you go. Got his children back.
Mhm.
He
Okay.
reopened his restaurant.
Okay. So we do see commitment. But again, y'all, we're looking for timestamps for commitment. But we are human beings, and that scores if we see something probably that says, you got your kids back, there had to be some level of commitment for you to get your kids back. So we take stuff like that into consideration. Um, somebody's background. I hear somebody. I might have to mute somebody. I don't know who that is.
that might be.
Okay. Um, we did commitment, integrity, last one. Do we see integrity? We kind of talked about it already. I think somebody mentioned it about him becoming the president at Sunshine, the alumni group, and going back and bringing meetings. Okay, so what would y'all give him? It's funny because there's six cares values, but the highest score we could give people is a five. What would y'all give him 1 out of 5 for having all of the cares values?
I'd give him a
Five.
five.
Give him a
A
five.
five.
Okay.
I'd give him a five.
I
Okay.
give him a
Yeah,
five.
I would give him a 5.
How about leadership qualities? Now we're on to the next piece. We did the cares values, leadership qualities. Remember, we're looking what has this person started, what has this person organized, started, created, if he's ever had any type of leadership position, um, anything
I
like
think he
that.
shows great leadership. I'd give him a 5.
Where do you
Yeah,
see it at?
He
Well,
opened his
let's
own,
see.
He became
Yeah,
president of the
yeah,
Sunshine Alumni Coalition.
opened his own
yeah.
restaurant.
Reopened his business. Yes.
Yeah.
Opened it, closed it, then reopened it.
Yeah,
Started a
He
cooking
helped
class.
create life skill meetings.
he started a cooking class,
Was that?
Yeah.
created the life skills meeting, like somebody said. Nice. Okay. So y'all would give him 1 out of 5. What would y'all give him for leadership?
Wow.
I would give
Five.
him a 5.
I would give him a 5.
Demonstrates or promotes recovery. So again, for this one, y'all, we're looking for um, how does this person promote recovery in their own life for others? Like, how are they an example of recovery? What are they doing? And again, I told y'all it ties into wellness. They're one of the same. So, what is this person doing to promote recovery within their community? What do they
He's
do for
still
themselves?
attending virtual recovery meetings of all kinds, still after with 8 years of
Mhm.
recovery.
And then he
Yeah.
said
He
he also
facilitates
learned,
summer meetings as well.
He's
yeah, real
volunteering
quick.
at local food pantries, feeding the
And
homeless,
Yeah,
his church.
giving out free haircuts and back to school drives.
Mm.
And
Got a
his
lot of
participating in a
stuff
lot
church,
of
going
service
on.
directing
work.
traffic at church.
There
Oh,
you
that's not
go.
big hard.
He's doing a lot. So what would y'all give him 1 out of 5?
5.
Five.
Yeah, I give him a five.
Okay. Community efforts. Is he doing a lot for the community?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, just name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the list goes on, right? And then alignment with mission and values. So we talked about the values, and then for the mission, I told you there were 2 parts of the CARES mission that we're looking for. The only 2 parts of the mission. We promote long-term recovery from substance use by providing experienced peer support and advocating for self-directed care. Um, was there a time in this writing sample where Pierre talked about a time where he was able to share his experience with somebody and help
Yes.
them?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, there
His
is.
parents.
When we met someone in the MAT program.
Yeah, so he didn't just say, "Hey, I share my story with people and I help people all the time." We may see something, some type of verbiage like that in a writing sample and not give it credit because it wasn't specific. Well, you're telling me that you helped this person. How'd you help them? So Pierre got a little bit specific. So based on what y'all said, Pierre got a 25 out of 25, but there's going to be 2 scores for each application. So one score might give the person a 25, the other score might give the person a 22. But as long as they're within 5 points of each other, they average out the score. If they're beyond 5 points of each other, we gotta have a talk. You gotta call the other score, and we gotta find out how we can um, get within 4 points of each other. So that's how the scoring process works. There's going to be 2 scores for each application.
So
I want to talk. Go
how do you
ahead.
do the 2 scores? I guess you're gonna get to that, right? How is it scored twice? How do you score it twice? I understand this is the one where you get 25, but then the second score, what does that come in at? The second score. You
No,
said,
what I'm saying is for each application. So let's say, Dennis, you submit an application and you give us your writing sample and your 2 reference letters, right?
mm-hmm.
Me as a scorer, I'm gonna score all 3 of those. So I'm gonna score your writing sample, your reference 1 and your reference 2. But Cassie is also gonna get Dennis's application and she's gonna score your writing sample, your reference 1 and your reference 2 as well. So
Oh,
she's
okay.
gonna have her set of scores and I'm gonna have my set of scores. And we have to make sure, for
Okay.
each section for the writing samples that we're within 4 points of each other. And then we
Okay, I got you.
average it. Yep.
All right. Thank you.
You'll have 2 people looking at your application just to make sure that, nobody misses something
Right.
that the other maybe didn't see, vice
Okay.
versa. So I
Okay.
want to talk about
Thank you.
fluff really quick, y'all. So there's a lot of times where we get writing samples and there's just a whole bunch of great words, but it's not telling us anything. And we call it fluff because usually it just feels good. It's just super fluffy, but it's not giving us anything that we can score on. And I want y'all to probably stay away from fluff and actually give us detail so that you could score high, just like the writing sample that you just read. So examples of fluff. We talked about the first value, recovery. This would be an example of fluff for recovery. Although the circumstances presented significant challenges, I navigated them in due course, and the overall trajectory of my life has since improved dramatically.
Mm.
Did we hear anything?
No.
It sounded great though, but
Yeah.
did we
It
hear
was
anything?
fluffy.
It was super fluffy. And I
Yeah.
think fluffy sentences could be good. I'm not telling you to not include any of this stuff, but if you're gonna include it, please follow it up with some detail.
Yeah, I think
Don't
he'll
let
make
it.
a good. I think he'll make a good politician. He get us a
Yeah,
lot of fluff.
yeah. He said a whole bunch and told me nothing.
Right.
Commitment. We talked about that value, commitment for the CARES values. I've demonstrated sustained commitment across various responsibilities, and as a result, I'm regarded as a dependable presence. My professional history includes roles in which I maintain long-term tenure.
No.
We
Fluffy.
didn't we didn't
Fluffy.
hear anything. I want y'all to understand fluffy, right? So when you write out your writing sample and your reference letters and you're critiquing them yourself, I want you to be able to see, oh, dang, I just spent 50 words saying nothing. I want you to be able to see it yourself. Integrity. I strive to uphold a high standard of personal integrity, demonstrating the same principles in private that I do in public, and approaching situations with a sincere and truthful disposition.
Fluffy.
Hope. I'm the definition of giving hope to people, and I spread it every chance that I get.
Mm.
Fluffy.
Man, it sounds
Fluffy.
good. Wellness. I make a conscious effort to prioritize self-care as a way of sustaining my spiritual, mental, and physical health, maintaining a sense of equilibrium across all aspects of my life.
Mm.
Ow.
Fluff.
What if it
Guys,
Good
sounds like a
fluff.
robot or
we
AI?
can't grade this.
No.
We can't grade it.
Sounds like AI.
Right. Diversity. I'm committed to fostering an environment where diverse identities are respected, and I work to ensure my interactions reflect a broad, inclusive outlook. I don't even see color.
What?
Leader.
So much fluff.
Leadership. I exercise leadership in multiple contexts, from steering conversations during meetings to serving in leadership capacity within my organization. So they're using the word leadership, but have told me
Not
nothing.
example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No example.
Where?
right. And I want y'all to be aware, I better not see no fluff on any of y'all's
I know, right?
application.
If we get an email back that has fluff in big letters, then we'll
Right.
look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fluffy.
Demonstrates or promotes
Fluffy.
recovery. I actively contribute to advancing recovery oriented values throughout my hometown, serving as a living representation of my
Mm.
possibilities that recovery offers. By investing in my own continued progress, I aim to reinforce that message in a meaningful way.
Mm. No.
Community efforts. I'm actively involved in a wide array of community events annually, often serving in roles where my presence and contribution are integral. The extent of my participation is considerable. And he just told me that he's involved in a wide array of community events. Why not mention those community events? Mission and values. I strive to reflect the CARE's mission in all that I do, championing peer support and fostering an environment where people feel empowered. I'm all about multiple pathways. Okay, y'all. So we got this big list of fluff. Do y'all get what fluff is?
Yes.
Yes, we
Okay,
do.
Yes, we do.
cool. Yasmin Valentine. She is Pierre Jackson's first reference. Now, with references, um, we want you, for your references, neither of them can be a family member. And also, one of them has to identify as being a person in recovery, and they have to say it within their reference letter. So, those are the requirements for the reference letters. Both of your reference letters can be in recovery, but we only require one to be in recovery, and neither of them can be a family member. They'll also have a minimum of 250 words, maximum of 500 words. So Pierre Jackson, the guy's writing sample we just read, this is his reference letter, Yasmin Valentine. So y'all take a second to read that, and when you're done, you could yell out Shazam, and we'll talk about How to grade a reference letter is a little different than a writing sample.
Hmm. Shazam.
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 Cool, that's pretty much everybody, I think.
Shazam.
Shazam.
So Yasmin, she identified at the very beginning that she's a person in recovery. So remember, with your reference letters, for the one that's in recovery, tell them, hey, you need to say that, in your reference letter so that it can count and that it can be scored. So we need the reference to identify that they're in recovery if they're the person that's in recovery. Neither of them can be a family member. What you may notice is that after reading Pierre Jackson's writing sample and you're reading Yasmin's reference letter, do you see a lot of the same stuff that Pierre put in his?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's important, y'all, because I see a lot of people, they submit really great writing samples and then their reference letters, they just bomb. And I can tell that they did not communicate with their reference. So we want you all, in order to, make sure to ensure that your reference letter scores pretty high, that you communicate with them and let them know the good stuff that you put in your own writing samples so that they don't forget to put it in theirs. Or they may not even know to put it in theirs. But we could tell that Pierre and Yasmin talked. For the reference letter, we score a little different than the writing sample. On the reference letter, we're looking for leadership. That's the first thing we score on, which is similar to the writing sample. Quality of recovery program, diverse groups of people that you work well with. Do you convey hope? And examples of reliability and accountability. So a lot of the same things that we look for in a writing sample, but in the writing sample, we have to look for all those six cares values. We're not looking for that in your reference letter. Um, so it's a little different. So for the first area, leadership qualities, we remember what we're looking for with leadership qualities. Again, is your reference talking about things that you started, created, organized, any management type positions, any service positions within your home group, whatever that may look like, is your reference including those? Do y'all see leadership positions that Yasmin included for Pierre?
Yes, I did.
I do, yeah.
What do
Yes.
y'all
But
s- what do
easy.
y'all see?
She talked about the president of the Sunshine Alum
Yeah.
Coalition.
Yep, 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 yep.
Then
Okay.
she said, and the woman that wrote the letter, she said that he's a great person to work for. That's leadership right there too.
That's fluffy leadership, but
Yeah, it's fluffy, but
it's
Hmm.
not saying nothing. He's a great person, it's not telling us anything, y'all.
He
So
was a
again,
speaker.
But
he was
it says if he messed up the inventory count, he'll easily admit it. So that says that, he's
that's another
honest.
area. That's another area. So whoever said that, hold on to that. That is another area. But as far as leadership, we want to know specifically what they started, created, organized, or any positions that they've held. So we talked about examples of leadership, quality of recovery program. This goes back to what are they doing for themselves? How are they an example of recovery? Do we see that Yasmin talked about what Pierre does for himself and how he
Mhm.
is an example?
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably like that second paragraph,
Right.
all the stuff
Correct.
he's doing. Also involved in the alumni coalition, good stuff, and a
Mhm.
lot of service. Diverse groups of people. Does Yasmin specifically talk about Pierre's diversity, his ability to work well with diverse groups of people?
Yeah, he mentors Native American male, a white male, and a trans female. We're
Yeah.
Okay,
pretty diverse.
that's all the way at the bottom. But you see how specific that is,
Right.
Mhm.
rather than saying Avery, he loves all different types of people and he serves an array of different people. He's awesome. Instead of saying that, Yasmin is getting specific to, well, what type of different people? Native American specifically, white male. We know that Pierre's black, so
Mhm.
these are all ethnicities that aren't black, so it's diverse,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Cool,
Very
we get
diverse.
that. So conveys hope. Is there an example of hope in there? What
He
about
spoke
the
with the guy that he had the Narcan
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's a
for
specific
hours.
example of conveying hope, right? So we want y'all to maybe your reference can remember a specific story about you or talk to him about it like, hey, make sure you include da 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 da. Like a specific little story of you being able to convey hope.
Okay.
So it's either that or your reference letter just says, such and such, she's so freaking inspiring to those around us, and she's always conveying hope. Fluff. So specific example, specific example, specific example. This last one, reliability and accountability. We're looking for examples of your reference demonstrating that you are reliable and accountable. And I think somebody touched on it at first. I told them to save it. What did you say?
I said that if he messes up an inventory count, he will easily admit it.
Boom, that's accountability.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am, there it is. I've been able to call on him whenever I'm in a crisis, and he's always answered the phone. Not only can I depend on him, but Not only can I depend on him, but so can my dog. He has taken
Exactly.
care of my poodle,
Yes.
Wilbert, once a
Yes.
month for the last year while I go to my book club.
Hmm.
An example of
Yes.
reliability and
Ability,
accountability.
reliability. Yeah.
But do y'all hear these specific examples? They're not just using the words that we have in the scoring description. They're going beyond the word reliable, accountable, convey hope, diversity. They're giving you specific examples. So this is another example of like maybe a high scoring 20s reference letter. Okay, so
Hmm.
this person would probably get somewhere from 20 to 25.
Hmm.
Again, what we don't want to see is the fluff. Leadership. What if Yasmin said, Pierre is a great leader in the community. He has opened some businesses and he has shown amazing leadership ability to our peers and Sunshine Health. I love that she put that he opened businesses, but as the scorer, we just scored Pierre's writing sample and we saw him list all the stuff that he's opened and done. And this reference letter didn't include any of that. So it's going to score lower if they just put a sentence like this. It's just fluffy. Quality recovery program. What if the reference put Pierre does a lot for his wellness and self-care? He makes sure to schedule out his day so that he can participate in activities that make him feel at peace. What activities?
Right.
Just say it. So it's a good starter sentence if y'all have something like that in your remember these aren't bad sentences, but if you're gonna put them in your writing sample or tell your reference to put in their reference letter, there needs to be some follow-up and you want to get ahead of the ball, right? So this is why we're doing this webinar so early so that you could go ahead and write your writing sample. You could go ahead and start talking with your reference. Have your
Mm-hmm.
reference have your reference write their letter out and send it to you and you score it. You look at it because you know what you're looking for and then
Yeah.
have them
Mm-hmm.
critique it.
Well, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So these, I know that we have to score so much on our letter, but as for
Mm-hmm.
our reference letters, they're just as important as ours.
Yeah, so the whole application process as a whole consists of your writing sample and your two reference letters. All of
Okay.
that together accounts for 40% of your overall grade.
Okay.
And the other 60% is from the oral interview.
From the
So the
oral.
writing sample, the highest score they could get is a 25. The reference letters individually, the highest scores those could get is a 25. But we're scoring all of this. It's all important for sure.
For sure.
Just as important as the writing sample. I've seen people have great writing samples and their letters are the reason they don't get invited to the interview because they were horrible. It's like a 22 on your writing sample and then your reference letters are nines and 11s.
Yep. That's what happened to me here. So I don't think they understood what but now that we've done this webinar, I can give a little bit more detail of what needs to be put in there.
Yep.
That was the whole main thing. But when is the next
We're going to
pair?
talk about it.
Okay.
It's all the way at
I
the
had a
end.
question real quick.
Okay.
Okay, like the people, would you say that a large majority of the people that don't get invited to the interview was because they didn't attend one of these seminars or webinars?
It could be. I've seen people get in without having to do a webinar or workshop, but it's very beneficial to be on one or go to a workshop. But I've seen a couple people get in without going to one of these.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
didn't make
Thank
it
you.
my first try, but when I went to the webinar, it did help me out, and I made it my second time. So, yeah.
So, an example of fluff for diversity. What if the reference put Pierre as a mentor to different types of people from various ethnicities and backgrounds? Diversity is a very important value to him. So it's fluffy, but I like that he included ethnicity and backgrounds. But I'm telling y'all, most applications we see, they have this type of verbiage. So what's going to separate you is getting specific with what ethnicities, what backgrounds, what demographics. If you could write that out or tell your reference to put that in there specifically, you're going to stand out. Conveys hope. Pierre's an inspiration to those seeking recovery at Sunshine Health. There's not a stranger that he can't positively impact in some way. That told me nothing. Fluff. Reliability and accountability. I could rely on Pierre for pretty much anything. He's so admirable for his ability to not only hold himself accountable, but those around him. That's okay, but it's a little fluffy. We want you to get specific. Do we understand that? Do we have any questions about the reference letters or the writing sample?
Yeah, I had one question real quick.
Okay.
Okay, I got the one about the person and it could be a person in recovery, right? So would it be
Mm-hmm.
okay for me to use my sponsor?
Yeah,
He knows me very well.
absolutely. I don't see why not.
Okay. All right. And then okay, it was when I think of it, I get back to it. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any more questions?
I do have a question a little bit. So I have personally not took any treatment as far as medication for my recovery. So, but I deal with being working for RCO and
Mm-hmm.
interacting with drug court, star court, DRC, and DFACS.
Mm-hmm.
Um, would this be suitable as far as me attending to this so that way I can advocate better in the aspect of whenever DFACS comes to me and they're just like, hey, what, trying to get my opinion thing is what I'm wanting to know. And when I worked for the rehab, I learned more education on like Suboxone and stuff like that, like how it sustains and helps people and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's beneficial information. Amanda, you're the one, you're already a CARES, right?
I am, but I'm just trying to understand more of I've been sitting here the whole time and listening to everything,
Mm-hmm.
trying to understand more than what I already know of being able to advocate with the MAT and the MAR
Oh,
system.
gotcha. Yeah, so there's going to be continuing education opportunities next year that are going to be revolved around this topic. So you'll definitely
Because
get more.
yeah,
I think
because
this year we did a harm reduction training as well. So there're going to be plenty of opportunities.
Yeah, because I interact with a lot of stigmatism within the programs that I interact with. And I want to be able to have the right information and the education to be able to stand up and advocate for somebody that is in that or that is going through that and that they need that, even though it's a different recovery, is different from what I went through. Um,
Absolutely.
Amanda, Amanda, are you thinking about like Matt's certification? Because that's different. This is for cares who've used Matt as a pathway. So email me, Amanda, and I can send you some information.
Yeah, because I think it's a struggle
Yeah.
to get people to understand the importance of it.
Yeah, it is a struggle because I mean, we've been dealing with it for so long, right? I mean, just this built up issue, a lot of stigma, a lot of stuff to break down. So, yeah, it's tough for people that are educated on it. It's hard for them to relay the message to those that are just closed-minded or ignorant or don't have enough information about it. It's hard to convince them still, even if you have a lot of information. So, it's ongoing. Avery,
If you know people that are already care specialists, can they be your referrals or is that a no?
no, they can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they definitely can.
Okay.
So if you all were to score high on the writing sample and the reference letters, you'd be invited to the oral interview. And we're just gonna briefly talk about the oral interview. But there's 4 rounds in it. And again, it's 60% of your grade. You'll get an email saying you're invited. You'll be able to apply for the 8:30 slot, the 10:30 slot, or the 1 p.m. slot. Um, but there's going to be 4 rounds in the oral interview. The first round, you just tell your name, your recovery time, and you share your best quality that you feel will help you be the most effective peer recovery coach. And you'll have 1 minute to do so. And they are timing it. Second and third round is what I'm going to talk a little bit more about today, but these are going to be your scenario rounds. So round two, you're going to be given a scenario about one specific peer. Each person will have the opportunity to respond in 2 minutes or less. Please respond as a recovery coach who was talking to the person and described in the statement. And then round three is a little different than round two because it's not revolving around one story of one specific peer. It's just common statements that we hear. You'll hear a statement that has been said by various peers, and you'll respond, and you'll have 2 minutes or less. Um, the fourth round, you will have about 30 seconds to share how you would like us to remember you. Or you could share something you want us to know about you that maybe wasn't sufficiently conveyed before. And usually in round four, this is when people get creative because, again, we're doing 3 rounds of interviewing And when the scores are talking at the end of the day, we want to be able to be like, oh, this is that person that did such and such at the end. Like we want to be able to remember you. I remember this woman, she put on a cape and slid into the camera and said that she was a recovery hero. I've had somebody pick up their dog and put their dog on camera. Just different types of things. But even if you're not doing any of that stuff, I've heard heartfelt messages about people overcoming cancer, being shot, losing children, whatever that is, whether it be a heartfelt message or something creative. We just want you, you'll have about 30 seconds to let us hear or see something that we can remember you by. So those are the 4 rounds for the oral interview. Um, let's practice. Did y'all want to try to practice these oral interviews really quick just to see how you would respond to them?
I would.
Okay. So whoever said that, and for everybody else on the call, off to the right, you'll see what we're looking for. We want to know when you hear this, when I give you this scenario, did you answer the question and respond to this person? Were you able to use your story? Do the scores feel like you were effectively listening and empathetic when you responded to the peer? And were you flexible with recovery pathways? So basically, when you hear this scenario, we don't want you to be directive towards this peer. We want you to give this peer options and be flexible. So that's what that means. Were you flexible with your options? Did you give the peer choices? And lastly, did you have positive energy? So whoever said they wanted to try, I'm about to pop up a scenario and you tell me how you would respond to it. Sharon Dixon is a 24-year-old female who has decided to give recovery a try, and she's been made aware that there's an RCO, a recovery community organization, nearby, and you happen to work there. You've been assigned to be her peer recovery coach. She comes into your office and says, my 12-step friends don't consider Matt as a pathway of recovery. They told me true recovery starts when I get off the Suboxone. Where do I go from here? How would you respond?
Well, I would ask her
Okay,
how
before
serious.
you continue, you're talking directly to the peer. I'm the peer. So as far as saying, I would say that's
Okay.
out the door. I'm the peer. So
Okay,
respond to
you're the
me.
peer.
Yep.
Okay. So have you considered going into any 12-step recovery programs? Or have you ever attended any 12-step recovery programs? We have plenty of programs in the community.
Okay. That's a start. But if we look over to the right there,
Can I?
we're looking for you to use your story, effective listening and accurate empathy. I would say that would probably score low because the person, remember, they said my 12-step friends don't consider Matt a pathway of recovery. So they've been to 12-step groups. So as far as asking that question,
Okay.
it may show that you didn't really hear what this peer was asking you because they're looking for direction from where they should go from here. Flexibility, you did offer other meetings, but you know, what other options are there? If this person is being hurt by meetings, maybe there's something that we could offer as well as other meetings because there are better meetings, right? All meetings are different, but what else outside of meetings could you um consider suggesting to her? And then we want to hear your story. I didn't hear your story at all. We want to hear you share your story.
Okay.
So another thing I want to add is that refrain from asking questions because we cannot respond to you.
Okay.
Okay? Anybody want to try this one again? I'm gonna read it and then um let me see who wants to try this. Did somebody have their hand raised?
I'm Haley.
Haley, okay, I'm gonna let you try it, Haley. Sharon Dixon is a 24-year-old female who has decided to give recovery a try, and she's been made aware that there is an RCO, a recovery community organization nearby, and you happen to work there. You've been assigned to be her peer recovery coach. She comes into your office and says, My 12-step friends don't consider Matt as a pathway of recovery. They told me true recovery starts when I get off the Suboxone. Where do I go from here?
Okay. Well, I hate that your 12-step friends don't consider Matt as a recovery tool because it is. It is, in my opinion, it is, and in a lot of other people's opinion, it is. My story, I have been in recovery since August 2022. No, 2023, August 22nd, 2023. Um, and I am a patient on the MAT um, caseloads, and I do believe that it is a very big, it's a very big tool. Also, there are groups at my church that help with like groups. What is the Celebrate Recovery? We have a Celebrate Recovery class every week. If you would like to try that, or um, anything that your sponsor can help you with, reach out to them. But as for me, I do agree with the MAT. I agree with the Suboxone that you were taking, and I agree that that is a first step to recovery. And my advice is do not let anybody else tell you that that's not a tool to recovery. From my experience, like I said, from 2023 to now, I have been a patient, and it has made my life completely different.
Okay, that's not bad. Now, you only have 2 minutes. That went over 2 minutes. I was looking at it, but I wanted you to get everything out. And I think you did a good job. You spoke to the topic at hand, so you answered the question. You were able to share your story. Effective listening, I think you started off with that because you used reflection. You basically just used reflective listening by saying so your 12-step friends don't consider Matt as a pathway. You just kind of repeated what she said to you. As far as recovery pathways, that's where you started to like stumble a little bit, but you eventually got it out. You started making suggestions and stuff like that. As far as positive energy, I will have to give you a 1 out of 3 because I can't see you.
Ah, what? It says my video is on. How
I'm talking to a ghost, so I
do
couldn't
I
see
turn it
you.
on?
I don't know.
Hold
There
on.
might be a switch at the top.
Okay. Hold on. It says it's loading. Let's see.
I thought
Dang
she
it.
I thought she was
Well,
in witness protection.
That's what I'm saying. We couldn't see her, so I
that's
couldn't tell
witness.
any positive energy. I didn't know who I was talking to. But
Well,
that was a really good first attempt. So
okay.
the highest score you could get on your oral interview is going to be a 15. So for each section, you could get a 3 as the highest, a 3 for answering the question or addressing the topic, a 3 for sharing your story, a 3 for effective listening, a 3 for flexibility, a 3 for positive energy. That would give you a 15.
Mhm.
So that's how that scoring is going to work. I think we end in 5 minutes, so we got time for one more person to try a scenario.
What would have been my score, Dwayne?
Positive energy was a 1. The flexibility was I give the flexibility a 2. Answer the question. So 3, 6, 9, 10, even. Like a 12. I'll give you a 12 because I didn't know who I was talking to.
I know, and I can't fix my screen.
Yeah, you
But
messed
okay,
up.
I
I'd have
appreciate that.
gave you a 12. Um, So let's assume that we're in the second round where it's not involving one person. We're done with sharing. So this one that I just popped up, I want to see if somebody could try that one. A peer on your caseload has a cousin that gives you a call to tell you that the peer is acting weird and not listening. How do you respond? Who wants to take a shot at this one? Hint, hint, it's a trick question. The answer is simple. You would probably just need to tell that cousin, I don't know who you're talking about. Or you can maybe tell them you can refer the peer to me, but I cannot communicate with you. Just something really short because of HIPAA and
Okay.
everything that we
Okay.
have to abide by, and our
That was my
loyalty is to the peer. So you don't have to worry about sharing your story, effective list, all these things that we score on. If you say just a short couple of words, basically saying, "Hey, I need to talk to the peer themselves," or "I don't know the peer," um, you'll score perfect for that. So it's a trick question, and if you can answer that correctly, you don't have to worry about hitting all these sections because it's a trick. I just wanted to throw that in there. We would
Thank
do
you for
the other
throwing that in
ones.
there.
Yeah. So now to close out, we're just gonna discuss some dates. The Matt Mark Harris Academy 81, it takes place March 16th through the 20th, so we're far away from it. But I just want these applications to be great, so we're trying to help out early on. Each day, Monday through Friday, begins at 8:30, concludes at 5 p.m. These applications, they open up December 29th, y'all, so that's right around the corner. So that laptop that you get for Christmas, you need to pop that right on open and start filling out this application. And then the applications close Friday, January 23rd. So you just got just about short of a month to apply for this application process. So the sooner you get started, the sooner you can have those conversations with your reference letters, the sooner you can score your own, go over it, have conversations, let other people critique it. If you have maybe some friends that are cares or something, really, really take your time with it instead of feeling rushed. I know me personally, I do horrible when I'm rushing. Um, and then below, you'll get these slides, but it just walks you through how to apply for the CARES program. You go to the website, training tab, CARES program, apply for CARES button, and then there's going to be a button that says apply to CARES 81. Right now it says apply to CARES 80 because that's the application process that's open. But at the end of December, it's going to say apply to CARES 81, and you're gonna go through the application process, name, all the basic general information. And towards the end, there's going to be white boxes where you're just going to copy and paste your writing sample and your two references into these separate boxes. It's three separate boxes. So you won't be uploading anything. I would maybe just put stuff on a Word document and keep that saved. Um, and that's pretty much it. Are there any other questions?
Real quick, sir. Okay. I'm trying to apply for the CARES 80, and I pretty much got everything done. I just need one more reference letter. And
Okay.
you think I'll still make that deadline? I know that's Friday.
I think that's Friday.
Yeah. I mean, I
So
got my
that'll be
letter
up to
done.
you. You got till Friday 4 p.m. So
Yeah.
I can't tell you if you'll make it or not. You can.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's possible for
You have
sure.
7 days. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
5 days. My
That
bad. 5 days.
5
That
Days.
is for
days.
the new care. That's for the cares that's open right now, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, CARES 80.
And is that's an in-person workshop?
I'm,
The academy itself is in person. Yes, it'll be at our home office in Tucker, Georgia. And if you live more than 60 miles, Cassie, is it 60 or did they lower it?
it's 16.
So if you live more than 60 miles, you will have the opportunity to have a hotel room provided to you by us. But you would have a roommate,
Mhm.
another person in.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. That's perfect.
Somebody
I'm gonna try
put in
to
the
get on my and try to get my
somebody
stuff submitted by Friday.
Tasha.
Is that the deadline?
Tasha, if you're already a CPSAD, you don't need to apply because you're already a CARES. A CARES is a CPSAD. So once you go through the CARES Academy, you take the exam, that's when you become a CPSAD. So Tasha, you already good, but you could pass this information on to somebody else who may be considering becoming a CARES.
Okay. Okay. I will.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you. I enjoyed the little time on, so I appreciate it.
No problem. Y'all
Hey,
have a great day.
Tasha.
Hey, Cassie.
She's from my cohort. Cares
I
53, baby.
appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Y'all have a great
Yes,
day.
thank you.
Y'all as well.
Bye.
Thank